She's adjusting the pants. What was she in fact adjusting? Let me know in the comments section. This is a touchy subject. This has gone viral. Everyone is talking about this. And so I don't think we can just say, hey, we need to hate on this woman. Coach Greg, in today's video, we got a man competing against a woman in the Olympics. South Park predicted this. We had Macho Man Randy Savage was competing against a woman. And who do you think came out on top? Of course the man won with 2 punches. Perhaps broke her nose, set her down, she had to quit. And so at the end of the bout, she's on her knees, sobbing, thinking, why me? I trained my entire life to get to the Olympics, only to lose to a man. Or was it a man? And so I posted about this story on Instagram and saw a comment from Stephanie Cohen. Chef Stephanie Cohen, a world champion powerlifter as well as a prize fighter. In the DMs, she sent me a photo. That's the Albanian girl you're putting on blast, by the way. She said nothing else, but she wanted me to know this girl actually looked like a woman growing up. And so I thought to myself, is it possible that it's actually a girl? And so by looks of things, she was raised as a woman. And so perhaps she doesn't have the downstairs that we're thinking of. You know what I'm talking about. But there's something known as intersex, and so that's when you have both genders at the same time. Does she in fact have the X and Y chromosome? Well, I do believe she does. But remember this, she was tested and previously was banned by the IBA. The IBA decided she is not eligible to compete as a woman. But guess what? They never paid their dues. Perhaps they owed some money and the IOC said, we're not going to recognize you anymore. And so although she was previously banned by this federation, they said, we don't care. And so we're going to allow this woman to compete. But was it in fact a woman? Well, her testosterone levels are that of a man. She looks like a man, but is she in fact a man? Well, the only way to actually know this is to get the X and Y test. If she in fact has a female downstairs, a hole, so to speak, should she be allowed to compete? Well, consider this. What if she has male testes inside of her body that you cannot see? And so she's born, she looks like a woman. I can't see anything down there, but she has the testes and therefore the hormones of a man. And so when she was a child, as Stephanie Cohen pointed out, she looked like a woman. But remember, there may be something inside of her, testes, that are going to release testosterone when she goes through puberty. And so, at 7, 8 years of age, she looks like a woman. But the true potency, the virility of a man will not be released until puberty. And so once puberty hits, and she has that sudden surge of hormones, bone's going to be more dense, she's going to grow taller, stronger, faster, everything. And so that gives her a clear advantage over her opponents. And so about to announce the winner, obviously the woman in red, we're going to call her, she's adjusting the pants. What was she in fact adjusting? Let's assume that there is no banana in sight. If she does in fact have testicles, whether they're on the outside or the inside of the body, does that mean she's a woman? Or does it automatically mean that she's a man? Now remember, it's not about being trans or not. She, in my opinion, is not trans. She was born a woman. She was raised a woman. She feels she's a woman, but, a big but, she was given the advantages of being a man. And so, is it fair? I can see some people saying, hey, she's a woman born with extra testosterone, so let her compete as a woman. Personally, I don't think it's fair. If you're giving that great of an advantage, remember, her testosterone levels are beyond that of a woman. They're the testosterone levels of a man. Italian boxer abandons bout against Albanian, disqualified from previous competition for elevated testosterone. And so the round lasted 46 seconds after the Italian had to stop following a powerful punch to the nose. She was ruled eligible, however, to compete in Paris, a competition run by the IOC after the Olympic body stripped the IBA of international recognition last year over issues related to governance and finance. And so although she was previously banned because of finance issues, they decided, we're not going to ban her after all. And so is it fair? Do you agree? This disqualification led to widespread misinformation about Khalif's gender. with many falsely labeling her as transgender. Khalif has always competed in female categories and was never identified as a transgender or male. And so her entire life she's competed as a woman. But her entire life she's had the advantages of that of a man. Apart from IBA statements, there is no official evidence that Khalif has XY chromosomes. We don't actually know. We don't know. Maybe she doesn't have XY chromosomes. Maybe she has XX. And so don't you think they need to do more research? But hey, they banned the IBA. They no longer work with us. And so the fact that she's failed the testosterone test, is that enough? Let's assume that she has way far greater elevated testosterone levels than that of a normal female. That her testes are inside of her. That she has normal exterior. Should she be allowed to compete as a woman? She's been raised as a woman. She acts like a woman. She feels like a woman. Whatever that means. You all know you can identify as whatever you want now. But let's say she's been raised as a woman. Should she be allowed to compete against other women if she has the strength, the power, the speed of that of a man? Khalif has always identified as female, and there is no indication that they identify as transgender or intersex. And so Piers Morgan weighs in. So disgusting. I once asked our new sports minister if she would be happy for Floyd Mayweather to identify as a woman and compete in the Olympics against women. And she refused to say it would be wrong and unfair. Be interested to hear her response to this. Now listen, this is a lot different. Floyd Mayweather clearly was born a man. His exterior parts, they're that of a man. This, in my opinion, is an intersex. Perhaps she doesn't have the downstairs of that of a man, but she may in fact have the testicles somewhere, not sure if it's outside or inside, of that of a man. And so let's assume it's not visible, it's on the inside. And so she was raised a female, but she has parts of the man inside of her. Should she be able to compete? I'm asking you. And remember, there's no wrong answer. I'm not judging you for saying yes, I'm not judging you for saying no. Everyone has the right to have their own opinion. Do you agree? Let her compete. 3% said let her compete. Next, if you say no, then you're a transphobe. And so 3% of people are clearly saying, you got to let her compete. This is what it's about. But the remaining 93% said only biological females should be allowed to fight. And so if you are born as a female, but you also have the private parts of that of a man, namely the testes, hidden inside of you somewhere, releasing male hormones, clearly giving you an advantage, should you be allowed to compete? And consider this. If you say yes to this, then what eventually will happen is all the best athletes in the world are all going to have intersex. They're all going to have male and female body parts. They're going to have all testes inside their body releasing extra testosterone because clearly it's giving you an advantage. Whether the IOC agrees with this or not, if you are born a man, you have an advantage. They're going to try to convince you, no, it doesn't. Of course it does. Clearly it does. What do you mean, do we agree? In what world does it make it okay for a man to beat up on a woman in competition? Well, what if it's half man, half woman? If you have both parts, if you don't in fact have the private member, but the testicles are inside of you and you were raised as a woman, perhaps you don't even know. There is in fact a chance that she's even unaware that she has this advantage. That her body is producing so much testosterone as she cannot see it visibly from the exterior. I'm confused because she is a biological female with high testosterone like most female athletes. No. Most female athletes don't have the testosterone levels of a man, and you know why? Because most female athletes don't have testicles within their body. Worst Olympics in history. Actually, there were in fact worst Olympics when there were serious wars in the world and only half the world could attend. Those are far worse. And so trust me, it could get worse. I mean, pull it down and check. And so here's the thing. You could literally pull it down and check and see nothing. Does that mean you're a woman? If their testicles are within the body and you can't see it and it's releasing the testosterone, the male hormones, would that in fact allow you to be a woman? We don't know. It's up for debate, hence the purpose of this video. She doesn't identify as female. She was born with female genitals but was a hormonal imbalance. It definitely was not a fair fight, but it wasn't even her fault. So there he is. I'm presenting both sides of the story. Bro, she's a female, born a female, and her life is documented. She just has more masculine genetics. Just research her. And so I did. And so my personal belief is that she's intersex. She has testicles, that of a man, inside of her. That is my personal belief. Is it possible that I'm wrong? Of course it is. But I'm trying to depict both sides of the story. And so if some of you think that it's okay, that they should still be allowed to compete as a female, after all, they were born looking like a female, well, that's a personal choice that you have to make. The 6% of people in the comments that think this is okay should have to fight him. Let me know in the comments section. This is a touchy subject. This has gone viral. Everyone is talking about this. And so I don't think we can just say, hey, we need to hate on this woman. If this woman was told she was a female at birth and she doesn't have the private parts of that of a man, at least not visibly, that they're inside of her body and that she's been raised female, then you can't blame her for wanting to fight against other women. She was raised as a female, she feels female, and although she has elevated testosterone levels, in her own mind she's female. And so it's not the same thing as just saying this man transitioned to being a female and is beating up on other women. To me, there's a big difference between trans then and being intersex now. But it does bring up some important discussions that have to be made. Should they be allowed to compete? My opinion is no. And here's why. There's a reason why they have female and male competitions. The reason for that is because it would not be fair for females to have to compete against men. Can some women compete against men? Absolutely. There are women out there who are faster than me, can jump better than me, they're stronger than me, everything better than me. But just because they're better than me doesn't mean that I don't have an advantage over them. And so what would happen if we didn't have any separate categories is that the elite level, it would almost be all dominated by men. There would be a few women who could compete at the elite level. Think of it. The best swimmer in the world, female, is going to be competitive against even some of the men. She'd perhaps not win at the Olympics, but she would be at least competitive at perhaps the national level. And so what they did is they added the female category to make it fair for females who don't have the advantages of that of a man to compete against other women. Same applies to masters category. Same applies to juniors, to having the teen class. It allows people of similar abilities to compete against other people in a level playing field. And so if you allow somebody who's intersex, somebody with both male and female genitalia, to be allowed to compete as a woman, it's not fair. The purpose of adding the female category was to allow for a level playing field among athletes in sport. And so if you allow these athletes to compete against other women who weren't born intersex, it's not going to give them a fair level of competition. And so what could they do? Well, they could perhaps add their own category, but listen, the Olympics can't just have every single category. What's next? They're going to have the teen Olympics, the 40-plus Olympics, the 50-plus, 60-plus, and so on. It's too much. And so sometimes you just got to take the L. It sucks. We don't wish this on you, but you just can't compete against other women just because you got this big advantage. So enjoy other sports. Become a bike racer. But we're not going to let you punch other women in the face and break their noses. They don't have a fair shot. You were given this advantage. It sucks, but life sucks. Coach Greg's 5'6", that sucks for him. He's a manlet. But guess what? We're not going to make a rule that you can only be 5'6" and under to play in the NBA. It doesn't work like that. And so you do the best with what you got. And if you can't compete against other men, well, you just don't compete or keep it at the novice level. And if you're looking for an advantage of your opponents and you aren't born intersex, you don't have higher levels of testosterone, look no further than GO2 Max and Turk Builder. This is the ultimate stack. You combine these, more energy, more muscle than freaking last time. Code Greg, 15% off. Click the link in the description. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you like to watch one of those two bloops. Cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team. The Hard and Last Time clothing. If you got no money, head over to my website, get the free diet and training program, close to 50 pages, join the 300,000 plus newsletter subscribers. And until next time, I am out.